What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music. Since we don't do any sponsorships here, I'll go ahead and shill that out. It is available anywhere you stream music, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's talk about the wild season permit, because there was an interesting discussion in Discord today, specifically in the shard holders room. And I know not everybody has access to that. I'm not going to show you what was said because I'm just going to paraphrase it for you here. The main thing that was being talked about, and this was coming from Royal Eagle. And again, this is not official, right, by any means, but they were discussing the wild season permit and actually it having some kind of dynamic pricing, right? So one of the arguments Royal Eagle was making is as the price of SPS goes up, the wild season permit may actually not make sense to have at 2,000 DEC. They would need to increase it, right? If SPS were to go to 10 cents or something, then maybe it would make more sense to have the wild season permit, burning 5,000 DEC per season, which really caught me by surprise, right? And so shout out to Royal Eagle for kind of sharing his thoughts there, and then Vugtis responded. And again, I know this is all coming secondhand. If you have access on Discord, I would recommend you go there. I'm just kind of paraphrasing where it was, and I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. I'll give my thoughts afterwards, though. But Vugtis' response was, if we're going to have something dynamic, then he would want there to be some kind of like predetermined scaling, pricing that so everybody would know. And it's not like, hey, all of a sudden SPS shoots up to 10 cents and then there's this arbitrary like, hey, we need to increase the price of the pass, right? If everybody knows what they're getting into, then whether they buy their cards early, whether they buy their cards, in December, whether they buy their cards at the end of next year when things might be raging, right? Again, I have no idea what's going to happen, but it allows for people to make more informed decisions. And I agreed with him on that. So let's take it back, right? Because that's kind of where the discussion fizzled out from there. I'm surprised, personally, that the Wild Season Pass would even be dynamic in the first place. In my head, I figured it would always be 2,000 DEC. So just the idea of increasing it as the price of SPS increases is something that is... No, I don't know how to react to it yet, just because I had never even considered it, right? I was like, 2,000 DEC, the higher SPS goes, you get more DEC burned because more people come in and participate. But the argument against that was the argument against keeping it static versus dynamic and having it, go up or down based on the price of SPS. The issue with that, according to Vugtis, and I agree with him in the sense that he just didn't want, like, he wants bots to never come in, or bot farms specifically, to come in and extract value from the game. And I get that, because I get that completely, because here I was, right, saying like, hey, if SPS goes high enough, right, if SPS goes high enough, all these bot farms are going to come back online, right? And I was viewing that not necessarily as like, hey, this is a fundamentally good thing. I'm saying that if it happened, right, if the bot farms came back online, that would actually show that, once again, Splinterlands is profitable. So it would show that the economy has gotten into a much better place, that all of a sudden people that are trying to scale up the earnings are here, and they're here and back en masse, which to me would be a bullish sign, right? Again, not commenting on the bots themselves, but just it would be a bullish sign if we were to see the bot farms come back online. But to Vugtis' point, and I'm sure many people agree, we don't want bot farms, right? Or ideally, we don't want, massive extraction to be happening at any level, right? It's because that would probably stunt the growth of SPS further. But what ends up happening is if you reduce the incentives there, then anything that you're doing to impact bot farms is always going to impact people too, right? Because we're all participants in the ecosystem. It doesn't matter whether you're a bot, whether you're a human, whether you're a cat or a monkey, right? Like, everybody has access to an account, and they will either need to pay or not pay, right, in order to participate in wild format. So in thinking through this, like I said, a lot of it was just catching me off guard, because I hadn't really considered that in the future. I in my mind, it was always going to be static, 2,000 DEC. And as the price of SPS goes up, what ends up happening is that you attract more and more players, right? Because now the reward pool stays the same, right? Where it's decreasing over time, but the SPS reward pool will stay the same. But like, instead of it being giving out, I don't know what it is right now. Let's say there's 7 million SPS being given out at a penny. I mean, if 7 million SPS is giving out at 10 cents versus a penny, that's 10x the value in rewards. people will start to come in. They will start to come in because they want to play, right? It'll make sense. But if you start scaling that wild pass up, well, then it increases the barrier. And therefore, you don't potentially get the massive amount of people jumping in, right? Now, we're only talking about wild format here. And so I guess I can understand why you would want that to be the case in wild format for the long run if you want to push new players to modern, which is exactly what the team is trying to do, right? So everything's still gravy in a sense. I'm just processing all of it, right? So if new players come in, you want to push them to modern. You want them to be playing in modern because here's the thing: the price of SPS goes up. They have identical, pools, and therefore all these new players will be jumping into modern format, ideally, right? Because then they would come in, the price of cards or packs would stay the same, right? Whether it's Rebellion or whatever the next core set ends up being, they're available in the store. People can come in and buy them for $4 a pop or whatever they are in the future. And therefore, like, everybody has the same entry price, right? Now, people might say, oh, well, it's super high, right? But it's regardless, it's still the same entry price. Somebody even coming in now, even though Rebellion is expensive, for example, right? All these Rebellion cards are super expensive. You can just go buy packs off the marketplace. And that is what we're trying to drive people to do. So I guess I can understand that argument. I was thinking to myself, like, well, you'd want to have it available where people could just come in, play in either format or even come into wild format and burn a bunch of DEC. But I guess I can understand the argument for wanting to increase it. But then, to Vugdis's point, if we're going to do that, then it's something that should be decided like now so that people making decisions can, be properly informed about where that's going to go in the future. Now, again, I don't even know how the scaling would work. I haven't, calculated anything out. There's smarter people than me in the community, and I'm sure with the team as well, that could think through that. But it is something to consider. And I'll go ahead and close the video here asking you this question because, like I said, I wasn't even on my radar. But what do you think of the wild season permit being something that is dynamically priced rather than static at 2,000 forever, right? And here's the thing. That's actually an unfair question to ask because if something happens in the future, we should probably change it, right? I can understand them coming back and wanting to make an update at some point. So I don't even want to say static, but do you feel as though we should have something? Well, actually, I will ask it that way as a part A, right? Do you think that it should be static versus dynamic? And then part B is, if you feel it's dynamic, I'm sure everybody then would agree, but I'm curious to get your opinion on, should it be scaling? Should it be something that is predetermined with some kind of formula? And how would you design that if you were Matt or whoever was in charge of putting that together? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That is all I have for you guys in this video. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.